How can you find good images that you can use safely without the fear of getting sued for infringing somebody's copyright? And you can use it for your social posts, for creating blogs, for creating YouTube videos, or creating presentations. Well, let's talk about all the options. Now, as you can see here, beware of Google image search. So here are the options that I'm going to discuss because I'm familiar with. Now, by the way, this came up in the discussion inside our Power BI Consultant program. And of course, a lot of us are pretty active on social media. We are also writing articles. We're presenting at conferences. One of them being our upcoming Power BI conference, which is coming on October 2021. So this discussion came up. Hey, what's a good resource to find images? Now, Google image search is what a lot of people use, but you should be very careful. I'm going to talk about all of these options and give you my take on it. By the way, I'm Avi Singh, and my goal for you is to not just learn Power BI, but become a pro. Now, what that means is to get that breakthrough success in your Power BI career, but also be able to create a life of freedom. If that's what you want, make sure to follow me on LinkedIn. All right, so let's get started and talk about where you can find images. Now, Google image search is what a lot of people use. Now, I'll say be very careful, right? So be very careful because you might be infringing on somebody's copyright and you can get in trouble. It's not frequent, but I've heard of people getting sued, and when you get sued, it can cost a lot of money. I just don't think it's worth it. Maybe, especially if you're a business owner, I guess if you're an employee, it doesn't matter, right? So whether you're running as a Power BI consultant or that, I think it's just crazy, right? So let's talk about the safe Google image search. That's number 2 on my list. By the way, that's let's just bring up the list again. This is the list that we're going to cover, right? Maybe I'll go through that. So I talked about this one, and I just said be careful, right? Because the images might be copyrighted. Now, the safe option is you activate that by clicking on this tools thing right here in the image search. So you click tools, and then you click on usage rights, and you do Creative Commons license. Now, this is safer. I wouldn't say this is safe because, some of these notice it says it's licensable, which I'm not really sure what that means. I mean, usually Commons, Wikipedia stuff, there's some stuff that shows up on Flickr and it's not clear. Like if you read that stuff, it's like sometimes you have to, so you have to read the specific license that, for example, I think the dollar crossed off means you cannot use it for commercial purposes, which means if it's like a sales presentation or something, you can't use it. Sometimes they, like again, you have to read the stuff. Like it says some rights reserved. So attribution might be required. Yeah, like there we go. So you're saying you must give attribute, and that becomes awkward, right? I mean, you have to write like, oh, this image by Mapbox and that sort of stuff, right? So it is safer, but you have to be careful about the terms, right? So that's one option. And let's talk about the next one. Let's talk about the free sites. These ones I do like. I do specifically like Pixabay and Pexels. Let me load both of them up. So I'm going to go here and load Pixabay and go here and use Pexels. Both are great. So let's just search for like power. And their terms are really simple. So read through the terms yourself. Of course, I'm not a lawyer, that sort of stuff, right? So there's not legal advice, right? So yeah, read the terms, but as far as I understand, it's straightforward, no attribution in that. Sometimes, it is nice to donate money, and I do that. I mean, sometimes go and donate some money. Like, thanks for letting me use this stuff, right? So power. Well, look at that, all this power stuff, right? So, and this has a different set of images. And again, the licensing terms I've found for these ones are pretty simple. I mean, you can read it here. It's like, yep, they're free to use. Attribution not required. Love it, right? So doesn't get simpler than that. And I think Pixabay is something similar. So those are the two that I do use, free sites. Now there's Canva. Now the thing about Canva is, hold on, let me bring it up. All right, so I do have Canva Pro, and it's really, really affordable. It's like, I don't know, I don't actually remember what it is, but it's really affordable, especially when compared to the next option that I'm going to talk about, which is Shutterstock. Canva Pro is really affordable, and what that does is it gives you access to these pro images. So you can see here, like this one is pro, and otherwise I would have to pay by each one $1, $2, but once you get the pro paid membership, which hold on, All right, I pulled it up. So it's $12.99 per month for up to 5 people. Man, that's incredible. Ooh. Yeah, especially when you compare it to Shutterstock. But you got to watch out, right? So again, the Canva terms, you can use all these pro images. There's lots of stuff. And like, wow, I'm all set. But the terms are slightly more complicated. Now, if you use this for social posts, you're okay. But anything outside of that, like your presentation, something else, your sales page, things like that, your website, probably not. So again, great for social posts. We use it. We are Canva Pro members, but not otherwise. So let's keep moving on. The next one in paid I do love is Shutterstock. Man, I just like Shutterstock. And here's the thing, right? When you are running your own business, when you're an independent consultant, the first thing you got to learn to value is your own time, right? Because what I was finding was I was spending 30 minutes sometimes trying to find the right free image for my presentation, and I was like, oh gosh, and then trying to edit it or something, get this free image which is not that great. So I had to learn Paint.net, and I would edit and tweak and all this stuff. And sometimes I would just go in here and find the perfect image, right? I mean, and again, right? I mean, you may or may not like any of these, but yeah. So sometimes it's like spot on. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I think this is about what I do is I pay like $50 for 5 images, which is $10 per image. But again, a lot of times it's money well spent because it saves my time. You got to prioritize your time. Your time is valuable, perhaps the most valuable asset you have. So that's one. The last one that I would mention is the Microsoft Office stock images. If you go into Microsoft, you can insert stock images, and that seems really attractive. But be very careful because that one is actually like Canva. And again, guys, the devil is in the detail. It's in the terms of use. And here I pulled it up. What am I allowed to use premium creative content for? Simply put, as long as it stays within the Office app or SharePoint site, you're okay. But anything outside of that, right? So you can't take pictures outside of Office or SharePoint. So as soon as you change that, I mean, to me that means you can't use it for social posts because that's not an Office app or SharePoint site. You can't use it for social posts. You can't use it for website. I guess you can use it for presentations, presenting through PowerPoint. But a lot of stuff, right? So again, guys, that's the options that we discussed. If you know of any options, then let me know. If you use some of these, then give a vote for that. Leave in the comment like, yeah, I use this as well, and that works great for me, or not. Let us know. And again, the idea is that all of us in this Power BI Consultant program are kind of working together to create this steady stream of income, and of course, putting yourself out there, right? Not just doing good work, but telling great stories about our work. That is great, right? And we often need images for blog articles, YouTube videos, and so forth. So hopefully this is going to help you as well if you are on that path. All right, I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, power on.